Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. Kentucky Council unanimously denies request for independent prosecutor in Breonna Taylor's case. The Kentucky Prosecutors Advisory Council unanimously decided on Friday to not appoint a special prosecutor to investigate the death of Breonna Taylor. The council argued that it does not have the legal authority to appoint the prosecutor, although attorneys for Taylor's family say otherwise. Tamika Palmer, Taylor's mother, called for an independent special prosecutor and a new grand jury to be appointed to the case in October. Councilmember Christopher Cochran, said during Friday's meeting that after reviewing Palmer's petition, he believes the council doesn't have the legal authority to grant her request. The council unanimously agreed, but when it was asked if there was any opposition, members of the public watching the meeting virtually chimed in. WLKY reporter Denise Camper caught the moment after the decision was made, in which several people criticized the council. "You're wrong and you know it," one person could be heard saying. "You have the authority, you're scared," another said. Following the vote, several people who were watching the meeting turned on their mics. Here's what they had to say about the decision. Palmer's October request for a new prosecutor came just days after two members of the original grand jury that reviewed Taylor's case anonymously told CBS This Morning, co-host Gayle King, that they were not presented with the option to indict any of the police officers involved on charges directly linked to her death. None of the officers present on the night Taylor was killed were charged directly for her death. One officer, Brett Hankinson, was charged with wanton endangerment for shooting at the apartment adjacent to Taylor's. Kentucky's Attorney General Daniel Cameron told a local Kentucky TV station in September that if the grand jury wanted to make an assessment about different charges, they could have done that. "It was a betrayal," juror number 2 told CBS This Morning. "They didn't give us the charges up front when they gave us all of that testimony over 20-something hours and then to say that these are the only charges that they're coming up with. It's like, well, what did we just sit through?" Lanita Baker, one of the attorneys representing Palmer, said case law supports Palmer's request for a new prosecutor, according to CBS affiliate WLKY. "There's plenty of authority that this council can appoint a special prosecutor by majority vote," Baker said. Sam Aguirre, another of Palmer's attorneys, told CBS News the situation shows how the cards stack so heavily in favor of law enforcement and against black women. Daniel Cameron completely undermined the integrity of our justice system, exposing its bias and the unethical conduct which happens behind the secret walls of grand jury proceedings. Aguirre said rather than fix this, 8 prosecutors today chose to condone it. "Their failure to step up here was cowardly. The whole world now sees clearly how the blindness of Lady Justice does not exist in Kentucky for black women." Aguirre also said Palmer's team will likely file an action in the courts to better interpret the legislation the council was referring to in their decision. The council's decision came on the same day that Taylor's hometown of Grand Rapids, Michigan, held a ribbon-cutting ceremony to rename Monroe Center Street, NW, Breonna Taylor Way. "I want to make one thing clear," said Justice for Black Lives President Alyssa Bates at the ceremony. "That street sign does not equal justice at all. Just because that street sign is being hanged, it does not mean we are going to settle. We are going to keep applying pressure to make sure justice is served." And as they should. Basically here, they don't want to change the prosecution. They want to keep the same prosecutors, which the family's arguing like, no, we need a whole new prosecution and a whole new jury and a whole new counsel and everything, a whole new judge and all that for this case. But they're not going to do it. And I keep trying to tell people they're not going to do it because They don't want to do it. It's against police that they don't want to lock up. They don't want to seem like they're wrong, which they were wrong. They were wrong. All the police officers should have been arrested. All the police officers should have been arrested who were a part of that event that night. And to me, they owe Breonna Taylor and her family an apology for smearing her name, making her seem like she was a drug dealer or she was a drug addict or she was selling this and moving this with her boyfriend when it was her ex-boyfriend. Her real boyfriend was there and he got released because they had to release him because the charges were bogus and he was protecting his family and protecting himself. So to me, they're showing you that they don't care. They've always done this. They don't want this to open Pandora's box because if these cops are charged, that means every law enforcement agency is going to have to answer to their police and that the police are going to have to be charged. They don't want policemen to start being charged left and right because then they'll look at it like, well, this is hurting the system if we just lock cops up, because sometimes it was a gray area in between. It ain't no gray area. You guys were wrong. You guys followed that no knock policy where you could just walk into people's houses. The boyfriend gave a warning shot, which is said in the law of Kentucky, you could fire a warning shot letting the opposing person know that you are armed. They said nothing. He shot. And they end up killing Breonna Taylor, lighting her up like a Christmas tree. So these are the things that we have to look at, people, is that look at the big picture. Don't look at just the crumbs. Okay? Look at the big picture. Don't look at the pieces. Look at the picture. Because they're not trying to do this and they don't want a new prosecution. They want the same results. And they're going to get the same results. They don't want these cops thrown under the jail. These cops are going to probably get off. And it's going to be hell in Kentucky. Because these people who are her family, they're not going to let this go. So let me know in the comment section what you think about this. I think it's bull crap that they're not hiring a new counsel or a new prosecution or a new prosecutor to do Breonna Taylor's case. I believe it needs to be a new jury, new prosecutor, new judge, new everything, and let this case go forward. But they're not going to do it because they're precious pink officers. They don't want to be seen wrong in this case or thrown under jail. So like, comment, subscribe, share this, hit the notification bell to select all to receive upcoming notifications. And if you want to donate to the page, you can cash at me at the word welcome, the number 2, and then HDIITV. Thank you for listening, and we're out. Live boy.